All right, I'm standing here with Guy Williams. He is the president and CEO of Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice. Very excited to be with him today. His organization, his nonprofit, actually played a leading role in writing the climate action plan for Detroit. We actually met by happenstance, which is just fantastic. So thanks for being with us here.
My pleasure.
One thing, do you want to say a minute about your organization and what you guys do?
Sure. Our organization, Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice, also known as DWEJ, a lot easier to say. We are the first environmental justice organization in Michigan. We started in 1994. So we've been active on a variety of issues. Initially just raising people's awareness about contamination and the connection between health and pollution. And now we're trying to move to more sophisticated initiatives like the Climate Action Plan, which really involve major shifts in the government and helping the government be more active and accountable for public health, safety, and the economic vitality and how those things play together.
Is Ann Arbor, is Detroit feeling climate change? How does climate change sort of, what have the impacts been like? We've been traveling the whole country, talking to different people. What's that meant for the Detroit Ann Arbor area, if anything?
So in our area, particularly in Detroit, is our primary focus. To the extent we work in other areas of the state, is more or less to help guide state policy that would bring relief in Detroit.
Okay.
So in our city, we have, for example, a combined sewer system, which means that sewage from houses and businesses and rain and stormwater mix in the same piping, which is ordinarily fine on a dry day. However, with climate change, what we're finding is more frequent storms, more intense storms, so ultimately much more water coming in a shorter period of time.
Okay.
So the system overflows. So you have flooding, you have backed up sewers.
And all that contamination gets everywhere.
And the contamination
right?
spreads. People's basements are flooding, so you have a lot of residual wetness, mold, and the health concerns around mold. So that is a major problem. We're in the middle of a sustainability project with the city, and we did a recent survey that showed 1 in every 3 Detroiters has their daily activity interrupted by the flooding.
Wow.
Pretty much every time it's raining.
Oh my goodness.
So that was really astounding. We knew it was widespread, particularly in certain parts of town, but we didn't know it was quite that widespread.
So have rains been more extreme? There's just been more precipitation lately? Or has this always been a problem?
Well, the overflows have been a problem, but it was more sporadic, maybe
They're
a
seeing it more
couple
often.
times a year. But now, almost every storm has more than 1 inch of rain.
Wow.
And we find that when you get above a 1/2 inch or more, that's when the system gets full.
Okay. Interesting.
But it comes down like within an hour or 2 of time, like it all rushes together.
Oh wow.
So that's setting the stage for a lot of innovative design work on how to capture stormwater and keep it in open spaces. It's called green infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that's one main issue. Another issue is that air pollution is a major contributor to health impacts in Detroit, and the sources of air pollution are related to climate change. So we have an incinerator that burns all municipal waste in the city. It's literally in the center of the city. Most of the electricity for the city is generated by burning coal in the local airshed. So we feel that the more we can work at revising our policies, encouraging new sources that are cleaner sources of energy, that's going to help have a healthier residents and reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. So it's a win-win situation there.
That's great. Could you tell us a bit about how environmental justice sort of intersects with climate change in the context of Ann Arbor, Detroit?
Sure. Well, in Metro Detroit, what we've learned by studying the air emissions is that the public health suffers, and there's a couple of problems for us there in the policy realm, which is air pollution is governed by permits, but it doesn't address the overlap of different types of sources, like a coal burning fire plant, a waste incinerator that's burning trash versus burning sewage sludge versus a steel mill. All of these things in close proximity to an oil refinery increases the burden of risk on our population for health. Not to mention traffic and the really super fine particulate matter that's released by diesel and just kicked up by traffic. So that's what we have going on in Detroit quite a bit. How it relates and interfaces with climate change activity is that we know that many of the sources of greenhouse gases also are the sources of these other pollutants that threaten public health. So where we can reduce those emissions, we get a clearer path toward dealing with climate change, and we have cleaner air that deals with other respiratory issues and cancer exposures and the like.
So we clean up the air and we reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the process. It's sort of a win-win.
So one other point I want to make is about environmental justice overall. I didn't really stress the demographics in the Detroit metro area and Detroit in particular. The population there is close to 80% African American or Latino. And what we know about nationally, the exposure to toxicity and poisons in our environment, that burden is borne far more by people of color than the general population. So that's the crux of the issue of environmental justice, is trying to rectify that situation. And what we know in our area in terms of exposures to pollution from sources of greenhouse gases is that they also trigger different kinds of health issues. And in our region, we're losing 18,000 hours of productivity every year. That's having a hit on our economy of $6 billion.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
And even worse, we now be able to document that the impact of the air pollution illness in Metro Detroit is 2 to 3 people a day are dying.
Wow. From air quality.
From air quality related illness. And so
Wow.
this really motivates me and my colleagues and our friends in the movement to do more research and to really get the message out about how do we come to workable solutions to this.
Wow, that's incredible. So a lot of people don't think about air quality as an economic problem, but what you just stated, I mean, billions of dollars of lost productivity as a result of poor air quality, and that's not even mentioning the sheer tragedy of multiple people dying every day, every week, every month.
Right.
So, well, thank you for the information, Guy Williams.
All right.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Shahir.
Check out Detroit Climate Action Plan. Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice. This is a nonprofit. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
Yes.